You saw, right, H? Start talking about the market makers, icy, and all of a sudden shit goes left. We could be a little shaky still here for a minute. Let's not celebrate too soon. But I ran a speed test. Everything's straight on my side. What's going on, Dom?
Question for you, Dbloc.
Yeah, what's up?
When you measure the flagpole for the bull flag, do you measure from that bottom pivot to the top of the channel or to the bottom of the channel?
To the top of the flag. To the top of the pole. Yeah. So like top candle. So even if the channel happens to be higher because of how it's set up, it's to the top candle.
Cool.
And then here, obviously, if this price action had sort of done that, then you could consider taking the entire pole. Pause. But that breaking structure is what sort of defines how much of it you can take. Oh, you want to know one of my pet peeves? This shit drives me crazy. And a lot of people do this. And it's not wrong, but my OCD is just not having it. They draw it like this.
A slanted flagpole.
Oh my god, bro! What? This shit drives me nuts.
I somehow knew you were gonna say that.
That shit drives me absolutely crazy, bro. And then you'll hear them say shit like, and it also gives you time to like, what? Stop it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what if it gives you the time?
Argument. I could see that argument.
Yeah, a lot of people do it too, bro. A lot of people do it.
I'm not gonna lie, I've drew it that way a couple times, and I've thought to myself, you know, this could still make sense.
Not that it's wrong, right? You still get basically the same measured move. It's slightly smaller, right? But who could stare at that shit all day? Like maybe my brain is wired different, but everything is screaming at me to fix that. You know what I mean? Like
that's definitely OCD.
Yeah. I understand and I admit that that is an issue. Somebody called me out on it the other day, man. I was sitting here charting and I'm sitting here going like this, and I'm like struggling with my magnet. I'm not saying anything. I'm just like slowly like that. And they're like, "You have OCD, don't you?" Like what? Yeah, for sure.
It makes
helps.
For a nicer chart though.
And it helps with pattern recognition, bro. I've always said it. Part of my edge didn't come from learning anything. Part of my edge is I've got really good pattern recognition. I tend to find patterns in everything, and when something is out of place, it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. Got like a neon light flashing arrow pointing at it. Yeah, I know, Raj. One of these years, I'm going to learn all the shortcuts, which you think I would know by memory by now.
Get you one of them mice that has like 1,000 buttons on it, and then just put all your tools on it.
Yeah.
I use my Stream Deck for that.
Yo, what chart was that Brontosaurus on? What were we looking at? Craze. I want to go back and check on it, but I can't remember what chart it was. Yeah, just send it to me. I've seen them before. It's just that's not my brain doesn't work organized like that, bro. I don't know how to explain it. I can't. I remember I got this job. It was data entry a long time ago, and it was my interview. And they give you like, okay, here's a list. Enter these numbers into whatever. And I trolled the lady so hard without meaning to, just because I don't know any of the show. I was just using the mouse for everything, and she was going crazy, bro. I could just hear her behind me huffing and puffing. And then on break, she was like, this isn't right for you. My first PC that I ever built was 2 years ago, and I built it to trade and stream. Just to show you how, like, I've been a console gamer like my whole life. I've really never used computers for almost anything, so that's why I'm so clumsy on them. Some of you guys probably got computers like when you were like 10, 11, right? Like you've always had PC in the house, probably built like 70 PCs by now.
Yeah,
That's what I do for a living. I build computers every day.
That was the smart choice. That was a smart choice. And I can't say that I didn't hear it. Like, they said it from ever since we were in high school, right? Get into coding, get into computers, it's going to be the future. And you're like, yeah, all right. But people that listen, they're winning. I wish I knew how to code. That's like, you're basically God on the PC. I mean, now I can like vibe code with AI and shit, right? But if there's anything that I would learn at this point, it would be coding, which is kind of silly because by the time I learn how to do it, nobody's going to be doing it anymore.
That's not true, dude. Coding's going to be here forever. And
but
especially now with like
like
AI
AI assisted though, right? Like I've always said, like if you're a coder right now, you can do way more with AI than anybody else can because your prompts are gonna you're gonna know what you want, what you need, how to make it happen. You can communicate it better, right? Like how an artist, how an artist can make AI generated art better than you can because their prompt is more informed. But I don't see why you wouldn't. It's going to be a tool. Even if people are still coding, you're going to use AI for the heavy lifting.
Agreed. But AI is going to spit out stuff that doesn't work all the time. And only someone who actually knows how to program can see that and actually correct it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I said it's like it's not. I don't think AI necessarily replaces everybody, but it does turn most of them into prompt engineers that are specific to their industry.
That's AI right now, of course. We don't know what AI is gonna be like in 5 years.
Yeah, that's true too. Who knows, bro?
Like, AI built my trading view tools way too easy, like way too easy.
I mean, Claudebot has changed the game, in my opinion. We've turned a corner.
And I didn't even use that. I just use Grok.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really have a reputation for coding.
There's one called Replit AI, and you could just give it an idea for something to program. It'll spit out the back end, the front end. It'll give you every page needed to run the entire app with just one prompt. It's pretty crazy. It'll make a database. It'll make like a home page. It'll run the entire thing for you with just a single prompt.
You know, we're AI OGs, right? Like all the people that are here that started trading crypto, and you're like, oh wow, there's OGs that have been here forever. Like when it comes to AI, like we were here for the drop, for the birth.
The birth.
Like we remember AI not being able to get fingers right. You know, like the first, you had like 2 noses and like 7 fingers.
I grinded through computer science in college without AI, and it was horrendous. It was such a difficult task for me to learn.
when I first started using AI, you couldn't get it to get words right. Like if I wanted to make a crypto Cypher logo, it would just be some alien language. Like you couldn't even get them. And I remember when that changed, when Ideogram came out, they were the first ones that were like, yo, it will do exactly what you want when it comes to lettering. And now look how far we've gotten. We're talking about Sora deepfakes. It's crazy. It's been, what, a year, 2 years?
Think of the Will Smith video, spaghetti video. It's kind of the first one that started where we are now. That's only a few years ago, man. Like, the first time we really started hearing about AI doing something like replicate. Hold on, Aaron. Sorry, my dog. We started hearing that was when like Joe Rogan would talk to people on his podcast about like about the rumors about yeah, it'll be able to copy your voice and replicate it after like a 20-second file of your voice or something, and it was just a rumor then. And that was like maybe what 2019, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I mean, just in the middle of this bull market, not even too long ago, Jacket made that AI video from my thumbnail where I stood up out of my seat and just melted into a pile of Play-Doh on the ground. This shit was just 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it's funny as hell. First of all, it made me Chinese. I got up and turned around and I was a Chinese man. And then I just melted into like a pile of Play-Doh on the ground. Like, oh, so close. The first part looked great. I was moving around in the chair. I was like doing shit. And then everything went left.
Just last night, I used the ChatGPT. I combined the TR main indicator, my golden pocket indicator, and I made it like by default to what your settings are set for TR main. It's already like default that way.
Yeah. There's so much cool shit that you can do, man. It's crazy because there's such a premium on creativity right now. Right? Where you couldn't say that before. Like we had gotten to a point where people were just doing what worked and just modeling it, remodeling it, and just running it until the wheels fell off. Art, any sort of like just forget about art in general, but just creatives, right, have really taken the background. And now that we can technically do all that, everything that the technical people can do, what's missing is the creativity, right? What's missing to feed into the AI is that idea.
I've been pondering the idea of using ChatGPT to automatically draw these bullish and bearish channels, the triangles on the higher lows or the lower lows, like the measured moves. I'm trying to figure out a way to have it detect these things and actually draw them for you, so you don't have to like do anything.
I would focus on, well, let's put it like this. If we take everything off the chart, right? Like the W and the bull flag are already drawn out. Like I draw them so that people can understand patterns and YouTube can follow.
I can see all that just looking at it, man.
Yeah, you get to the point where you don't even need it. You'll see it. The charts that I work on the side, like for my trades, they have almost nothing of what. Like they look a lot more like this
for your audience.
Yeah,
It's
easier to teach it, right? It's easier to show it, to show the break, and show the But you will get to the point where you just see it. But as far as an indicator that would be helpful for new people, yeah. The problem with AI drawing patterns is that they draw everything, right? And they're not very good at filtering through sentiment and filtering through. They're really, as where we stand right now with AI, there's no substitute for experience. I would imagine that changes over time. But just look at the AI trading competition we just had. right? 4 out of the 6 lost money. 1 barely did better than Bitcoin. And the other one did better than Bitcoin, but only because it only traded Bitcoin and it took profit and compounded. So we just had the smartest LLMs, quote unquote smartest, prove what we've been saying the whole time. Right? It's really hard to beat Bitcoin, and you've got to pay yourself. You've got to take advantage of dips. Right? But it's really, really hard to beat a Bitcoin heavy portfolio. They tried it. They all tried it in various different ways. Right? The 2 more empathic models, ChatGPT and Gemini, they went on to crypto Twitter and they said everybody's bearish, we're going to short this, and they got wrecked. Grok and DeepSeek counter traded sentiment, which is a strategy to counter trade sentiment. They didn't do it because they understood sentiment, and they were like, they did it because there's a strategy where you counter trade popular sentiment, and they did that.
What were the prompts and criteria for this though? Because if you give it a specific set of rules, I'm sure that the trading outcomes would be completely different.
It was open. They gave it a certain amount of money, gave it a list of coins, and I think they limited the leverage to 20x or 25x. And then there was a certain time. And they didn't know they were in competition with each other. That's the basically the framework. And I think it was just one exchange. I'm not sure. I think it was just one exchange they could use. What was cool is that you could follow it real time. Like they had their wallet addresses. You could literally dig in and see the trades as they happened. They had the reasoning on the side that explained why they took the trades. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah, Khaled. I mean, I think that even with a drop, we do have a relief rally probably to either the bottom or the middle of where we accumulated. Right, so if we look at the macro here, worst case scenario, we continue a flush and we end up at that 200 EMA. Right, even in that case, I'd be looking to retest. Right, from here, even if we did it from here, right, you come up, try to retest, probably hit this 50 EMA on the weekly again, and come down. But this is not promised, guys. This move is not promised. If the FUD stays tomorrow and it gets more aggressive and market maker can't get us up to CME gap, a very good chance that it rolls over. The probability for the bearish outcome is now the most probable. Remember we talked about we invest in the most probable and we hedge against the possible. As we dropped to 80, the most probable was a relief rally. So we invested in the relief rally and we hedged against the possibility of going lower. Right now, until we close above that 2-week 50 EMA in the next 36 hours, the highest probable chance is that price rolls over. We put in a lower high and we roll over. There's a possibility that it holds and continues, right? But we have to invest in the probability or defend ourselves against the probability of a continued rollover. And then hedge against the possibility of it going back up and clearing liquidations. For most people, the argument is this a rescue ship or is this a rocket ship? What I'm saying is that the best risk-adjusted way to look at it is that this is a rescue ship and should be treated as a rescue ship until it shows evidence of being something more. Meaning, don't hesitate to pay the trader. I know you're underwater on some positions, and as we go up, you will be less underwater, right? Divorce yourself from your entry. Don't look at it like that. Look at it like this is how much money I have. And as it goes up, I have the availability to lock in more gains. Because if you get married to the idea, oh, if I can just get to break even, you might miss break even, right? But, you know, 10%, 20% more than what you have now is still decent. And the move that we're looking for to get us all the way back up, just to be clear, so that people's expectations are, right, that's a 9% move. Looks like a lot on the 1 minute, but Jesus, what a busy year this has been. Part needs to be NFT'd. So that's what we're talking about. And if you're married to the idea that this is going to recover, just understand what you're saying is that you have confidence that by weekly close, which is right here, we'll be back up above that range, which means we need to pop up into these vectors. If you want a magic wand to get here, pop up into these vectors, come back, hold support, put in that W. That gets us there. Problem with that is this SR flip. Right? If we come back up to this level and just bearishly retest after clearing these vectors, chances are we're going to roll over and we won't have enough time to hit our targets. Yeah, exactly, which never happens on the weekends. But we also don't get dips like this that give us psychological ranges this low from the weekend trap. So this is not your typical weekend here. But as far as last night's move, right, we broke down. We said we'd have to get above that dotted line if we wanted to get back inside the weekend trap. Losing that bear flag opened us up for our drop down to 754. Oh. Want to be accurate here. So we missed that bottom by 50 bucks, 47 bucks. And now we're looking to see how much of a relief bounce we can get here. Try to salvage some underwater positions. What's going on, Beba? Welcome. That's a good question, Davey boy. A good question. It probably speaks to the amount of sell pressure that they're fighting through. The retest of the break of that bull flag. Well, if you're in the Discord, Tom, we have our own AI agents that are pretty well trained up. So if that's what you're into, there's definitely that there for you. As of right now, it's a good research tool, but don't hand over your portfolio to AI, guys. There's no easy outs here.
Dear bot, make me rich. Here's my account.
Yep.
Fast overnight. I need 1 million by tomorrow.
The reason AI is dangerous is because when you start getting into TA, everybody goes through this phase. We call it the Holy Grail phase, where you become obsessed with finding that Holy Grail indicator that's just going to give you those bottoms and give you those tops through every single different part of the market consistently. And some people lose them. I lost about 3 years into that. Everybody do it. Even if you say right now that's not going to be me, I promise you, you are going to find yourself on the quest for the Holy Grail at one point if you stay here long enough. I'll save you some time. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. The Holy Grail is understanding how indicators work and getting back to first principles. And then that'll start to make it obvious to you what indicators work during what part of the market. That's the cheat code, really, right? There's no one tool. Just like life, right? There's no multi-tool that does everything. That's why we have toolboxes. Or else we would just have the Omni Tool 3000 and, you know, that shit would do everything.
They do sell some pretty optimistic tools.
We were talking about the other day, like building a doghouse, right? Like once you build your toolbox, what's important to know is like what you need and not overdoing it. Like if you got to build a doghouse, you don't bring every single tool out of the shed and lay them down in front of the grass and sit there and analyze how each one can make the doghouse better. It'll take you 3 years to build your doghouse, right? You grab your hammer, you grab your saw, you grab some nails, you make it happen.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite tools I've ever purchased is my Klein Tools screwdriver, and it's got like every bit in the handle, and it's ratcheting. It's like my most used tool of all time. I love
Convenience is usually the ones that make your job faster, and it's the same for indicators, right? The best indicators are the ones that take 15 minutes of analysis and boil them down into 5-second quick look on the screen.
We're looking ready for a little sweep right here.
I'm gonna leave the I'm gonna leave that up. That's the 9% that we need to get up. I just think it'd be hilarious to see that fill instantly. So measured move from the bull flag is a little bit higher than our existing measured move, but not by much.
I got it at like 79.7.
$794 is where I got it. I'm at the break, right at where price broke. But depending on exchange, might be off a little bit one way or the other. Pop, pop, pop. Time to harvest a little more liquidity. The bears are aggressive here. Rightfully so. I'm not really mad at them. But we'll probably come down, clear a little bit of this vector, and let them pile in. Still got plenty of 50Xs on the way up.
A little bit more.
Is it though?
You've made 84.
Hold on to that thought, Dom. This is such a goofy psychological range that we're putting in here, bro. Right, Andre? Like, what? 80K is going to be a really big psychological price point to get above. A decent amount of volume came in there. Take your time, market maker. Plant those seeds. Target ones hit. Yeah, I'll help you out.
No, you said you're not supposed to do that.
Sometimes you gotta show him what you expect. But yeah, you're right. You know, it's me future tripping again. That drop yesterday was a measured move, RH, from the bull flag. That came from the impulse above the flag. Oh, that's what he's talking about? Thank you, Neve. Thought he was talking about the measured move. Yeah, that was the, you know, we talked about where we ended up would let us know who was in charge. And the bearish whales definitely knocked that shit out of the park. I mean, they got down to their strike price right on time. Yeah, I got to do better. I'm still working at doing better, y'all. Watch these guys up here.
That'd be crazy. We put in another bull flag right here, just like you squiggled.
I mean, it's typically what market maker will do if he's trying to farm liquidity. Right? The reason that it works when you farm liquidity like that is because that drop down brings in the bears. And then the lower high brings in more bears. And then a lower low and a lower high brings in more bears. And the greedier they get, the easier they forget that that's how bull flags are built. So it's enough bullishness and enough of a retail pattern to keep retail buying the bottoms, but enough bearishness to keep these guys shorting the tops. But like I said, it'll depend on these guys. As these guys fill in, that'll give you your move back up. And then I mean, if you keep that in mind, you'll see that's what they do over and over. Like if we turn on the dead bodies, what they did here, you see? This move up came up and cleared all those long liquidations. Right? You had a couple that were here, whatever, but all of these guys shorted every time price came down. Price came up, they opened new shorts. Price came down, price came up, they opened new shorts. And then finally, then you're done, right? So this was the farming, and then this was the harvest. And then now you're trying to build back up for another sweep. I gotta turn these bothers. It's a sentiment play, right? Market makers playing off the bearish sentiment. How do you use bearish sentiment? If you want to go up, how do you use bearish sentiment to do that? Like, how does sell pressure help you go up? What if you can make people degen?
Open up a bunch of shorts.
Yeah,
right?
if you can make them degen, then that in turn will keep fueling the move.
You reckon they're going to come down for these vectors and then go back up again?
A decent percentage of them, yeah. 50 EMA on the 1 minute would be the mean reversion I'm looking for. So depending on how long that takes, we're sort of moving up like this on the 50 EMA. So if it was to come straight down right now, we could come to like 784. But if it starts to like sort of do that, then we'll just eventually touch it and then pop. Then we're back to our idea of a bull flag. So timing is
I wonder
going
if
to be
there's something
important
you
here.
can set to buy at certain EMAs.
Mean
Or like,
reversion.
you have,
Most market
like, if you're
makers
not
work off of mean reversion on different time frames. So there's always mean reversion plays back to EMAs. You can always, that's why you get reactions Not that they're actually acting as support or resistance, it's that they're acting as places where people place entries.
Well, are there tools on like exchanges to buy certain EMAs or?
I know there's alerts that you can set. I don't know if there's any direct tools like conditional orders that trigger off a EMA or something like that. I haven't used any. But it's pretty simple to wire up a little indicator to flash a light for you or whatever, you know. The reason that I stick to the 50, the 200, the 800, because these are institutional grade EMAs, right? This is what they teach at the Institute of Finance. This is what where most people are going to be setting their buy orders at. It's what market makers use for mean reversion. So it's like some people have really like, oh, I like to use the 43.5 EMA on the, and it's like, cool. Just understand that when that line hits that EMA, you're the only person in the world that noticed it. You know, like this shit works because it's self-fulfilling prophecy to some extent. The reason that you teach people to draw fibs correctly are so everybody's staring at the same golden pocket or everybody's staring at the same 0.5. That's why CME gaps are so effective. Because there's no subjectivity there. The CME gap is right there. Everybody knows where it is and everybody can aim towards it. That's why the moon phases still have some validity at times, depending on the cycle. Because there's a sheer amount of people that still use them. Yeah, YouTube chat is saying you can set conditional orders on a couple exchanges. But yeah. It doesn't look good, Tom. Right now, if you're in alts, you're hoping that you can get back, to where we dropped from. I don't think you're aiming at all-time highs. And if you are, you need to start looking at it a little more soberly. There's no way to look at the last 48 hours in a positive light. Now, does that mean we're not going to scrape every last dime out of this shit that we can? No, of course we got. That's why we're here. But keeping your expectations reasonable is going to really help with your stress level. Bears are hitting this pretty hard here. It's not a myth. It's just that we didn't have enough money to make that happen, right? We were quantitative tightening. So like I was saying earlier, now we know the next bull market that we go into when we're under quantitative tightening, since the first time it ever happened, we'll know how to approach it, right? People will respect Bitcoin a lot more. People will look to diversify their trades outside of crypto, right? Because if there's only a certain amount of money, then all that money gets sort of consolidated into the big dogs, as we've seen. I just don't want anybody to take those lessons into the next quantitative easing bull market and expect it to happen the same. Because I don't think we're done with 2022 style bull markets or alt seasons. We're just not in the right monetary policy for it. There's only so much money, yo. There's only a certain pool of money. And as that pool shrinks, the possibility for every one of the assets that you have goes down. Especially when there's 10 million meme coins out there that didn't exist in 2022. Let's zoom in now and watch these bears pile in on this lower high. Where the line starts is where they took their trade. Right? This guy right here went 100x long, 100x short on this candle. And probably been clenching up pretty tight for the last 3 or 4 minutes. And this guy right here just opened his short on this. It's not just one person, right? This is group. These are all the people that have their liquidation at that level. Piling in.
I drew a little future bull flag, and it seems to be filling it up pretty nicely.
Guys, don't do don't do that. Well, at least as long as you know that it's it's just experimental. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like trading it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm watching it kind of get filled out with candles, and it's bouncing inside my future bull flag pretty nicely.
It should hold up. That 50 EMA is already made a good way of the way up. I don't know if we'll touch it on this move down or if we've got one more. But we could come down and hit, or and then come. Two types of mean reversion, right? The first type of mean reversion brings price down to the EMA. The second type of mean reversion will consolidate as the EMA comes up to price. You just bought some SKR. What's it doing? How bad did it get hit? I haven't even looked at it today. Was that support resistance we were looking to hit? I mean, it's a good asymmetric trade, bro. I'm not mad at it. You know me, I'm okay with taking on risk, right? There's no bad coin to trade. There's only a bad price. And picking something up at support where you know that, and I forget about the coin, this coin specifically. This could be anything. But being able to have such a tight stop, right, is where the money's at. How much do you pay to see if this plays out? Right? If you don't take the trade till right now, right, then you're taking on increased risk. 12%, 10%. You'd be like 1 ATR underneath, right? You're already risking 10% of the trade just for waiting. When if you catch that falling knife, you know, you can be at 2%. Again, not saying this is going to play out. This is hypothetical. If you were shooting for that top, getting the trade now at a 7 to 1 risk reward isn't horrible, right? But a 30 to 1 risk reward is way better. I always look for really good asymmetric trades like that. Meaning, if it goes even, $100 underneath, everything changes. You want 2 touches on each side, Raj, for your flags. at least. So it wouldn't even be right yet for me to, well, actually kind of. You had to. You want them separate. You don't want to cherry pick, but for the most part, this is enough. So far, we're following the squiggle. No, it should only be $50, Just. What do you, maybe the way you're trying to pay?
Twitter calling for a 10-cent SUI. 40 cents, 10 cents.
If I managed to catch the short, I don't mind the 10 cents.
Give me 1 second, guys.
Crypto winter during the winter.
Give me 1 second, Justin. I'm looking into it right now.